foreign ministers about how big an irritant the tariffs are to U.S. relations, both with ASEAN as a bloc, but individual countries?
Well, I think, look, two things to understand. Number one is these letters that are going out and these trade changes are happening with every country in the world. I mean, basically every country in the world. The president's been very clear, and he has been, frankly, if you go back to videos of him speaking in the 80s about his feeling that the state of global trade is unfair to the United States, that for far too long we allowed these imbalances to develop. We are the world's largest consumer. We're a huge market where people export things to us. And with these huge and unsustainable imbalances have developed with countries all over the world. And so this is a globalized effort to reset U.S. trade in a way that's beneficial to the United States, and not just in dollars and cents, but also in our own domestic industrial capacity. So this has been made clear to countries around the world. We were coming up upon upon the middle of this month, and the markets demand certainty, and so these letters set a baseline. Now, obviously, that does not foreclose the opportunity for individual countries to enter into negotiations that perhaps can adjust those numbers. But in the end, the president still remains very committed to a rebalancing of trade that's fair to America, and also at the same time protects our own industrial capabilities.
Right, but you're here today meeting with ASEAN countries, and those countries, almost all of them, got letters.
Yeah.
So
but anywhere in the world, well, I guess my point to you is anywhere in the world that would have traveled this week, they got a letter. So everybody got a letter. And in some cases, some of these countries got a letter where their tariff rate is lower than some of their neighbors or maybe a country somewhere else in the world. So it might even serve as an advantage. But of course, it's raised. It's an issue. But I wouldn't say it solely defines our relationship with many of these countries. There are a lot of other issues that we work together on. And I think there was great enthusiasm that we were here and that we're a part of this. A reminder that next week we'll have another high-ranking delegation, including Secretary Lutnick, Deputy Landau from the Department of State. Will be traveling to Japan for the World Expo there, and will be involved in talks there as well. You know, my very first meeting, I don't know if you know this, but when I was sworn in, I went to the State Department, I gave a speech on these steps, and then my first meeting right out of the box was with Japan, South Korea, and India. And we've repeated that meeting numerous times since then with that group and attention to others. We have a running internal joke with my counterpart from Japan. I have literally now seen him about 8 to 12 times. And our joke is that we see each other more than we see our own families. And so you know, these engagements are very important to us, and we're going to continue to stay very committed, because this, as I said to all of our partners, that this notion or idea that the United States would ever be distracted by the Indo-Pacific or even Southeast Asia is impossible. You can't be, maybe it doesn't always, wars get more attention, but it's impossible to not be focused. This is where much of the story of the 21st century is going to be written. This is where 2/3 of economic growth is going to happen over the next 25 or 30 years. And many of the countries in Southeast Asia, not only are they some of the youngest countries in the world, but they're about to see an enormous expansion of their labor markets, their labor pool, number of workers. This is a historic, once-in-a-generation opportunity, not just for these countries to revolutionize themselves from an economic standpoint, but further strengthen our relationship. We have over 6,000 American companies that have invested heavily in these economies over the last 20 or 30 years. We're not abandoning those relationships. On the contrary, we want to strengthen and build upon them. And there are a bunch of other issues, and certainly trade is a part of it. But there are a lot of other issues that we work together on, and we continue to highly prioritize that. The story of the 21st century will be written in the Indo-Pacific. And the countries represented here today, along with others that have joined to be a part of this, represent some of not just important markets, some of the most important partners we have in the world.